What do you think is the number one hidden contributor affecting people's mental health?
I think it's a pandemic. In my work as a behavioral expert, I talk about personality as a process. Just as high performers or as growth-minded people, we are saying, hey, life is not asking me to do it. I'm doing it because I would like to challenge myself. That's the biggest difference. So RAM creates, like if I'm here, what is my next believable and still slightly scary thing?
अगर आप एक ऐसे बंदे हो ना जो शायद इस वक्त लाइफ के अंदर या तो फोर्स किया गया है एक अलग रास्ता लेने के लिए या वो खुद एक अलग रास्ता चुनना चाहता है, तो ये पॉडकास्ट आपको बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प करेगा। आज जो मेरे साथ बैठी हैं गेस्ट अदिति सुरैना, शी इज़ अ अवार्ड विनिंग हाई परफॉर्मेंस कोच, अ पॉडकास्टर।
And my father didn't speak to me for 9 years after I left home. And that time nobody knew these careers could exist.
A lot of people don't have courage to.
See, courage decision लेने का जितना था, उससे ज़्यादा courage वो decision जीने का था.
That's where I feel thinking that you're not alone in this race helps. Do you agree to that?
Yes, but the journey is always yours. Every time I have to get into a session where I get to study a person, I blush. I have sessions like 8 hours a day, back to back. I talk to different people, complex conversations, but I'm fresh. You know, in life, you say, okay, hey, if I do this, will I be a happier person? And happiness is not only...
पता मैं आपकी सबसे पहली मेमोरी बताता हूँ दैट रियली हिट मी वाज दिस ज़ीब्रा क्वेश्चन बिकॉज वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट पीस ऑफ कंटेंट दैट आई सॉ इन योर इंस्टाग्राम was this zebra question, and I saw you staying that in the stage, and I was so intrigued by that poem, you know, ki acha, I never thought of this.
Yes,
you know, have you ever asked a zebra, is it white with the black stripes or is it
Black with the white stripes?
And that hit me home, you know. That was like, damn. And then I would love for you to just recite a bit of that
Sure,
poem.
sure. I have to pull it out.
Yeah.
This is a poem by Shel Silverstein, and she says, or he says, I don't know, the zebra question.
Yeah.
I asked the zebra, are you black with the white stripes or white with the
With the
black stripes? Are you good with bad habits or bad with good habits? Are you noisy with quiet times or are you quiet with noisy times? Are you happy with some sad days or are you sad with some happy days? Are you neat with some sloppy ways or are you sloppy with some neat ways? And on and on and on the zebra went. I will never ask a zebra about his stripe again. And what I love about this sweet little poem, I think it's written for the kids, but I like the fact that none of us are black or white. We are not right or wrong. We are not perfect or imperfect. We are a combination of all of it and everything in between. So in my work as a behavioral expert, I talk about personality as a process. It's never like a fixed idea. And people just say, oh, I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert, I'm this, I'm that. Like, it is never like the
Yeah.
boxed idea. We are constantly evolving. But more than that, we are not one thing. We are in the process of constantly discovering who we can become. And there's a lot of research nowadays about neuroplasticity, where they speak about how your brain constantly creates new neuropathways and how you can absolutely bring new things into the question and how you can absolutely learn things every day to challenge your own limitations. So if you have concluded that as a person, I can't do this and I shouldn't be doing this because somebody doesn't believe that I have the ability to do this, or, you know, our past programming, past learnings, all of that would just build your idea of who you are, because personality is a process.
Yeah, and I love that because if it is not a process, you just have one piece of puzzle.
Yes. And we believe that the puzzle is defined.
Yeah.
It is not defined.
It
That's
is
a
not.
good part of the story.
That's a good part of the story.
And it's a scary part of the story because you don't know what you'll discover about yourself. Recently, I read this research. I don't even know. I haven't validated it, but
Yeah.
they said the survey in the jails say that 1 in 5 criminals can be a psychopath. And then they took the same parameter, same questionnaire, and asked the corporate people. And they realized 1 in 5 can be a psychopath. And then we are like, oh my God. So we have the potential to be these amazing people. And we also have potential to be psychopaths. So it's not what we actually have within. It's about what we focus on and what we grow and what we cultivate and what we build that changes who we are.
I think one of the acts that have defined my life is accepting my own vulnerabilities. Right? Unless I do that, nobody else can make sense of it. Right? And when I was, when you were saying this whole thing that we are not just combination of one quality, we have multiple qualities in us. We are extrovert with the right people and introvert with the wrong people.
No, we are introverts with the right people actually.
Is
Where
it?
we can keep quiet and we don't have to have words to communicate.
That's I think the extreme form of synergy, right? Isn't it? Like it's the extreme form of synergy that होता ना ऐसे पिक्चर कहानियों में मैंने सुना है यार बिन बोले आप सब समझ गए हमारी बातों को.
Yeah, and I feel that about people when you feel safe and when you feel conveyed and you feel that you don't have to pretend to be anybody else, you just don't require words.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I think हम दोनों की कहानी में जो एक पैटर्न है ना, it's like safety is always gonna be there. Take the risk. It is always there. Safety is always an option. Risk इंसान consciously लेता है. Why I'm setting this context is because, and why I also ask you zebra question is because it gives you a perspective कि आप किस पे focus करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. It's the same conundrum of glass half filled or half empty. It's the same context. And मैं इस episode से ये भी बताना चाहता हूँ, it is not about the decision being right or wrong. It's about the process that you follow after that decision. The content that decision gives you. That is very, very important. I almost died in 2018. Right.
Mentioned, yeah.
Yeah. And I had my neck
Welcome
broken.
to the second life.
Yeah, exactly.
पुनर्जन्म हुआ है तुम्हारा.
पुनर्जन्म हुआ है मेरा. So, and similarly, you left your home at the age of 19. A very unconventional path. And this whole podcast is built upon unconventional stories. Right? Because यार आपको अगर सीधी लाइन में वही काम करना है कॉर्पोरेट में, आपको पता है अच्छा मैनेजर बनूंगा, फिर सीनियर मैनेजर बनूंगा, फिर वीपी बनूंगा. The path is laid down in front of you. But when there is unconventional things coming in the way, you don't know the path. You don't know how your own self will react to it. How will you react when somebody judges you? How will you react when your mental health is going for a toss? You can't even be aware your mental health is going for a toss. Right? And that is what I want to solve with this podcast. So I'm going to go back to the time when you were 19, the mindset that you had, and what exactly in terms of, if you can just give me a glimpse of it, so we can take out some lessons from it. And I will go back to my story as well. And then you can ask me the same things.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, you spoke about risk and safety.
Yeah.
I feel this idea of risk in terms of life decision is kind of overrated.
Okay.
And stay with me what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
Most of the time when people think that they're making a safe choice, what we are talking about is I have covered all the areas that I'm aware of. Okay. COVID taught us that you can be thrown into a situation that you're absolutely unaware of. Like, who can even imagine in the wildest dream that the whole world can come to a standstill? We never thought about it. Like in our generation, that wasn't a possibility, but that happened. And we lived through it, and most of us survived through it. And we came on the other side and we went back to normal. So safety as a concept, and especially, it can be applied to, say, business in certain ways. It can be applied to financial decisions. But life decisions are all about playing to the uncertain. So whatever you think is safe is based on other people's experiences, other people's data. And that could mean that your role model, that could mean your parent, that could mean the social impact. It could mean like people you have read about in some other country. It could be anybody. But fundamentally, safety in life decision means believing that other people's reality is your reality, which is not true.
Very interesting. I love that.
Because when you talk about making choices, I think we should make choices based on what kind of person I would like to become. People mostly make choices based on what would I like to get, how much money I want to make, where I want to reach. But what kind of person would you be when you go through that journey? And that was my question when I was 19. My father wanted me to take a conventional path of being an engineer. And the reason was I'm very analytical. And he was right. Like, I am very analytical as a person. And he said, the way you kind of solve problems and you observed me for many years. And he said, engineering is what you must do. And I said, no, I'm also very, very empathetic. I didn't know this word empathy then.
Yeah.
But I just knew that I love observing people and I love studying them. And I come alive till date. Like, it is what? 21 years ever from the time I have left home. But every time I have to get into a session where I get to study a person, I blush. Like I talk about it
Hmm.
and I blush. There's something about it. Like I know, and I feel this is so aligned. I can do it for 8 hours a day. And I speak, I have sessions like 8 hours a day, back to back. I
Hmm.
talk to
Hmm.
different people, complex conversations, but I'm fresh, especially because I know that I'm stepping into other person's world. I'm getting into their possibilities that one cannot reach, and that is my game. So when you come alive somewhere, you know that you are being yourself, and that is the future idea. That's the future version that you would like to become. You must choose those decisions that can be difficult, that can be complex, that can be really painful in the moment. But this is the difference between high performers and people who don't choose high performance.
I'm gonna take a moment to process that. Obviously, there is a the way I've felt it in my journey, and now see when you start deviating from a conventional path, you start seeing patterns between your actions and their actions.
Yeah.
Like how would you react and how would they would react. Like similarly, I'll give you a very good case study. I went to the mental talkies space and I did a stand up there. Okay,
Nice.
I had never tried it. Okay, and then I did a storytelling session there. Right, again I never tried it. The reason I tried it was because I'm scared of it. Now, some people might think, okay, that's stupid to do that. But for me, that was exciting because what happens is that uncertainty is uncertain, right? So when life gives me a chance to be on stage, I know that how should I process it? Because I've already forced myself to process it. Now,
But that's the difference between growth versus fixed mindset. This is work done by Carol Dweck, and she has a book called Mindset. If
hmm,
listeners are willing to read, please check out. Like it's a must-read kind of a book for me, and it changed my life. So when you look at like a growth minded person, they're looking for learning curves. They're looking for where can I go, how can I go,
hmm,
and even if I fail, well, okay, I learned something new, and let me grow, and let me just figure this out. And when you have a fixed mindset, then you go like, but I shouldn't have failed. I can't get this wrong. I must prepare to a point that I can guarantee myself and others that I will not fail at this. So the fixed mindset idea is to make sure that whatever you decide, you deliver upon it in a manner that would not have any error because they take failure personally. Whereas a growth minded person would say, hey, if I try something new, what you're talking about, I would learn something new and thereby I will explore what I don't know about myself.
hmm,
So the orientation is very, very different. So I believe that every decision that we take, and you just explained that point as an example, that going on the stage and doing stand up is scary because you don't know the
hmm,
format, you don't know the grammar,
hmm,
and I'm sure there are other people who are really
hmm,
good who are performing alongside. So it's not only making fun of yourself, but also making having the fear that you would look like a fool in front of these
hmm,
experts.
hmm,
Yeah, but then you say, hey, I'm going to try this. What if? What if there is a little sliver of a
hmm,
possibility
hmm.
where I discover what I'm really great at? Then it is amazing. Then I will know something about myself that I have never known before. And that is worth it.
I love where we are heading, and I've gotten a few key takeaways from so far what we have done. Is that firstly, I want to point out is that evidence builds confidence. That is what I have realized. The more number of time I execute, I might not execute it properly, but every time I have a learning to execute it better. Right? When I build evidence, I have more confidence to go again. So if I have delivered, let's say, 10 or 15 stand-ups, I would be more confident to do it, 20th of time. So instead of in my head making a mental model that what if I go on stage and n number of things go wrong, just go there. Whatever goes wrong goes wrong. Now you know what you need to fix.
I have another concept here. I believe in creating a ramp.
Okay.
Okay. Ramp is little associated with your current level.
Hmm.
Like, if you want to go to level 10 and you start thinking, okay, when I do 20, then I will
Hmm.
be at level
Hmm.
10. But the biggest struggle that we have is taking the first step. You're
Hmm.
like, but how do I do this? So, for
Hmm.
example, if you want to do the stand up, you would not think about the 20th show because that is overwhelming and that's scary. And you're
Correct.
like, Arey, jab hoga, dekha jayega. But abhi right now, I'm scared at this point. So, RAM creates, like, if I'm
Hmm.
here, what is my next believable and still slightly scary thing? Is doing a stand up in front of 5 people. So I would just call 5 friends and I would say,
Hmm.
hey, I'm going to do
Hmm.
this piece, see what you feel like.
Hmm.
Okay, then 5 friends say, okay, they give feedback, whatever.
Mm.
Then you say, next thing is doing it for 5 strangers. So I would
Mm.
call my friend and say, I want to come to your office, or your team doesn't know me. Can I just like take 1 hour and just do this piece, or like 15 minutes and do this? And my friend would say, yeah, of course, come. Like, let's.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
these are these strangers, but also like they don't count much for my performance. They are like random
True,
strangers.
true.
So that's like a second thing on the ramp. Ramp, you know how it's
Correct,
slowly,
correct. Slowly,
gradually.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm of a belief that if I want to do something great tomorrow, if I want to build a skill to do that, I would check which is my next challenging level,
Mm.
and I would just do that much.
Mm.
Like I paint. I'm an artist,
Mm.
and I started painting a few years ago, just like recently,
Mm.
and I had an exhibition of my show, and now I do big canvases, and it's an
Mm.
intricate work. It's micro pens, like 0.05 mm, and when you do those lines, you require like a real concentration, and people look at that and like, oh my god, how did you do this?
This is achievable.
No, they're like, this looks complex, and this
Complex,
looks like a
yeah.
full
Yeah,
professional work.
yeah.
And I've just started like 3 years ago.
Okay.
But because the skill building happened where I challenged myself to take 15 minutes and do this work no matter how busy I was. And when I did this in small books, I kind of ended up doing, building skill there.
Hmm.
And when I felt, now I can do this, I
Hmm.
moved to A4. Then I moved to like a bigger page and a bigger page. And now I have like 3 by 3 feet canvases.
Hmm.
But this can happen
Hmm.
if you gradually move. Because if you really start thinking about like the 20th show,
Hmm.
some people, unlike you, because तुम खतरों के खिलाड़ी हो, हम जानते हैं, but unlike you, some people get very, very scared on small level of risk.
Hmm.
So make it comfortable for you. Don't die because
Hmm.
your body will get into survival.
Hmm.
If you want to keep your mind in the thriving mode, you have to have some sense of security inbuilt in your experiment.
Hmm.
So if somebody would have asked me to do a huge canvas when I was just getting started, I would have said, no, I can't do this.
Correct.
But when I had like 1 year of just 15, 20 minutes of little bit of work,
Hmm.
I knew I built my skill. I knew I was like working towards it. And eventually I reached a point where it was like fun.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it is a gradual process. And that's for every skill. Just as high performers or as growth minded people, we are saying, hey, life is not asking me to do it. I'm doing it because I would like to challenge myself. That's the biggest difference.
I'm gonna go back here a little bit to, like you said ना, खतरों के खिलाड़ी and the ramp thing. तो मैं इसको ना, I'm applying it to my life also.
Yes,
to
please
just to
tell
make
us
it.
how did you figure this out?
So that's what I'm trying to take away from you here. तो मैं उसी, let's say, ramp theory को I'm breaking it out into my life. So I was a very extremely introvert guy. मतलब लड़कियां छोड़ो, मैं लड़कों से भी बात नहीं करता था वैसा when I was a school kid. That kind of a guy. But my mind was very, very active. Always been a very artistic person. Questioning teachers, and they used to be very scared of my questions because I used to, ask them, okay, ये करना है, but क्यों? I was always the guy, क्यों? The why was very strong for me since I can imagine myself in consciousness. ठीक है. So coming back to this whole thing, let's say मैं mental talkies में जाके ये चीज़ perform कर रहा हूँ, but it has been taken 20 years of me building those small evidences for myself. Let's say कि पहली बार जाके मैंने अपने teacher से बात की, my favorite teacher, okay, I want to express myself that I'm not feeling maybe right in this way, or I want to understand this way better. And she understood, okay, he's maybe shy in writing or saying, but he's expressive maybe in dancing. So that was the first art form. So very less people know that I was famous as a dancer at state level.
Wow.
So that was the first act of expressing myself. I could not do it verbally, but when I was on the stage, I was like, nobody's judging me. I can dance my heart out. That was the first form of expression. That gave me a little confidence. Okay, people started appreciating, okay, Neeraj, you can dance well. And that gave me a social, lesser anxiety. Okay, I can communicate. That's how I formed a little comfort zone for myself. It was uncomfortable, but yeah, the ramp, first
Yes.
stage of the ramp.
Yes.
And then slowly it became to, okay, if I can dance, maybe I can also try to do some more skills, right? And then I started exploring myself, and then I, suddenly somebody pushed me to the stage in my college time, and they asked me to deliver a speech as the president of my engineering college in my 10. And that was very funny. Before that, I had never given a speech, and the whole audience was booing me, and it was the entire college. And that speech, I still remember that speech made me realize that I'm a good speaker, because that audience was booing me, and that same audience gave me standing ovation after that speech. Even their teachers. Why? Because I let it go. I have been a person who has always believed in flow state. So when they were booing me, I understood this fact, okay, I cannot tame them, so let's redirect them. So I am one of them. I understand their emotion. Okay, nobody wants to be here. So I chilled them out. And then I chilled them out. I connected them at a soul level. And then they were like, okay, let's do this. And then without a preparation, without a note or book, because I was even unaware of that, I was going to do that. But then I survived that death literally and then came out of it. Then I had a small appreciation of the audience and the teachers, and teachers came and told me, okay, Neeraj, you got something here. Right? That was the second crack in the wall. Okay, I can do dancing. I'm good at it. Then I started with this thing, okay, stage pe dala, so I'm good at it expressing. Then my class wanted me to approach and say their sentiments to the leaders in the college. And like, okay, I can communicate well. There's something there. And I started practicing those things more and more and more. So it's been 20 years, Aditi, since then. I have been constantly trying to learn and adapt, not just thinking about it, executing it. So this whole consciously trying stuff. So I told you just before the podcast, I'm a vocal artist, like in terms of being a singer, right?
I didn't know this.
Yeah. And when I went there, because I was practicing it even before getting the official training, I went there as a beginner person. They rejected me as a beginner. They told me you are an intermediate person. Don't enroll
like
for
that.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought rejected matlab mat aao gaane.
Nahi. So you and I even shot an ad with Sonu Nigam after that thing. So all of this and that again, it gave me a little uncomfortable कि यार अभी ad तो कभी shoot नहीं की जिंदगी में. You know, but it was accumulation of कि I can be on stage, I can speak well, I can express well. So let's try this out. So it's about you at least trying things out in your comfort zone. Dance was the most comfortable thing. वहाँ से मैंने थोड़ा सा बात करना सीखा. बात करने के बाद में मैंने let's say I started speaking on stage. वहाँ से कुछ सीखने के बाद में I started कि let's learn new skills. That gave me feedback on myself. And I applied that feedback. So I think that is the ramp that you're talking about that I built in 20 years. तो खतरों के खिलाड़ी बनने में बहुत खतरे उठाए हैं मैंने. To be fair.
Sure. And I think वो छोटे-छोटे खतरे उठाना ही बहुत ज़रूरी है.
बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Whenever I talk about like, challenging yourself, people think, oh, that means leaving everything that I'm doing currently and jumping into something like a fire. No, you don't have to. I think every day just choosing yourself differently and choosing to do things which make you more disciplined, more committed. And small little things can also be very, very difficult. So, yeah.
Can I ask you this thing? Because I think people will be very curious to know. So, and my job is to not ask what I want, but also कि लोग क्या पूछना चाहेंगे आपसे. And I want to ask you this thing कि at the 19 or let's say I was at 29 when I took a very, let's say, rebellious decision of my life of choosing myself, which is the most beautiful thing I did. So coming back to that, a lot of people don't have courage to take that decision. At that point of time, you had that courage. I had that courage. How can we help somebody think about in a rational way and take that decision?
See, courage decision लेने का जितना था, उससे ज़्यादा courage वो decision जीने का था. Because it is not always making a decision. I think making a decision is like, okay, this is what I want and I'm going with it. And my father didn't speak to me for 9 years after I left home. And to live with the fact that my dad is not talking to me, who I was very close to, and the cost of choosing my career as a behavioral expert and as a coach, and that time nobody knew these careers could exist. So living with the decision is more difficult than actually making a decision. And I see people, younger people especially, they in the excitement of doing things, in choosing things that they want to, they just make that decision. But when you start living with the decision, you have to stay committed. And how do you do that? Is by knowing the why. Why you made that choice. If that choice is only about me getting better in my life, तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है उसको survive करना. But if the choice becomes about I did something because I want to create a certain kind of impact. I want to create a certain kind of expression. I want to create a certain kind of community. If I want to create, so if there is a why has a larger impact, even that could be like building a fabulous business that you want, or becoming a great leader that would like have a different style, whatever. If it has an impact on someone else, I have seen people can survive the difficult times better. If it is only focused on me, and me becoming better, me being liked more, me being appreciated more, me being validated more. If it is me, then what you get hit by is anxiety. Because anxiety is mostly, in many, many reasons for it. But in working professionals, when I see anxiety, it is about survival. Because when I become like this person who is always successful and people clap for me and they validate me and I'm that, the main character in my world, and other people, if they don't exist, then I would always be focused on maintaining it. And anything, a little possibility of where it can't be maintained, I'm always vigilant. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And it's almost like a balloon on my head and you can't carry a pin. No, no, you can't carry a pin. No, you might have a pin. So I'm constantly looking at my environment as a threat. And this is where my mind becomes like completely in a survival mode. And this is where many working professionals build anxiety, because they constantly feel my career can be taken away from me. Somebody can push me down. My promotion might be, declined. So they are constantly on the survival mode.
So going back to that time,
I was very clear about my why, Neeraj. I was like so specifically clear because I'm dyslexic. Okay, dyslexia is tare zameen pe. that India, in India we know that.
Jumbo, diggy.
Yeah, exactly. This is not only like words being and reading as a challenge, but dyslexia also means that you constantly feel like a failure because basic things in your school you can't do. So I grew up feeling like less off. And until I discovered this magical talent that I had to have insights in other people's personalities. And this is why I wanted to be a behavioral expert. But until that moment, until that did not happen, I was constantly feeling as if I'm not good enough. And I know people most of the time feel that way. And when I told my father that I want to choose this as a career, my reason to do that was to really do this for other people. So that they can have some spaces, they can have a possibility of like really having a bigger life. So that why I don't think, and I even till date, after 21 years, when I work with somebody and I see a transformation in a person, I feel I'm still helping the girl who felt helpless. So it's a very personal journey which happens through the work that you do. So yeah.
It's beautiful. I can see a lot of correlations here. If I summarize this whole thing, like if anybody who is trying to take a decision where they don't know कि इसके बाद क्या होगा and how do I survive that difficult period, because trust me, it will be difficult. If it will be difficult, because that is why you're contemplating कि ये करना है कि नहीं करना है, right? The why that you had was कि वो जो लड़की थी उस टाइम पे, she could not live up to the max potential she wanted to. And that's why you started gifting high performance to people.
पर ऐसा सोचते नहीं है ना हम. See, the point is, ये अभी जब when I think about it, that अभी ये सारे शब्द आ रहे. Simple decision making में सारे शब्द नहीं आते.
Correct.
ये बताना चाहती हूँ मैं, because life is like, in life you say, okay, hey, if I do this, will I be a happier person? And happiness is not only success. Happiness is about like a larger impact. Like happiness is about like, if I want to continue to be happy, I need to be really, really satisfied. So you have to know what makes you genuinely satisfied about in life. And that is not, it can't be external thing. It can't be, unfortunately. I wish it was, so that हम सभी लोग सारी चीजें खरीद लेते, checklist कर लेते. Like I see people go for a vacation and they come back and they dread coming back to their offices. So vacation, you can have an escape from a reality that is not satisfying. But if you genuinely want to look forward to what you're doing, if you genuinely want to look at things and feel excited, then it is very childlike. It's like curious. What are you most curious about? And what kind of curiosity would you like to fulfill so that you would feel satisfied about it?
So, मजा आ रहा है मुझे पर्सनली. ये तो the very important thing is कि मैं कुछ दे पा रहा हूँ लोगों को. And the key takeaway is again, and I'll add some value to this, कि आपका why जो आपने अभी describe किया है कि at that point of time I wanted to, now I can tell I wanted to help that little girl. But still somewhere subconsciously मेरा वो वही why था कि I want people to go past their limitations and see the performance that they can achieve very realistically. Very realistic, because you could see the micro nuances of अच्छा ये अगर मैं ऐसे कर दूंगा स्टेप को तो it becomes easier, it becomes a ramp.
So वही कह रही हूँ मैं. See, my point is, you're right. You're absolutely right on this. I'm just saying that when you're making a decision for our viewers and for all of us to remember that if we follow what do I want to become as a future avatar, what kind of characteristics do I want in that Aditi? What kind of skills do I want in that Aditi? If I kind of have that, then every effort I make, I wanted to be this person who would have an impact. And thanks to the books I read, or thanks to the people I met as a child. So I saw them and I saw speakers and I saw authors and I saw people who are like amazing and thanks to the environment I grew up. तो वो खुद का आइडिया नहीं होता कई बार ऐसा होता है कि ये करके मुझे मजा आएगा. तो if you just keep it simpler, life becomes more sustainable. This idea becomes, a high performance becomes sustainable if it is simple.
I will give you my thought process of that point of time and to contemplate. जो rule मैंने निकाला है. So this is something that I've written in my book as well. One thing that really hit me very hard was that I won't live with a decision that I would regret. Very simple, fundamental.
See, simple. That's what I'm saying.
Very simple.
When you say I don't want to regret, it's simple. It's practical. You can act upon it. Yes,
yeah, and
exactly.
I'm adding to it. So first point is don't regret, because the only voice, मैं एक लाइन बोलता हूँ हमेशा, मैंने बोली भी है काफ़ी स्टेजेस पे, कि एक ही आवाज़ आपके साथ कवर में जाती है, वो होती है आपकी अपनी. So it doesn't matter who judges you. If you can be content with the decisions that you have made, you will be very peaceful wherever you go.
Thank you for saying this. Yes.
And the last thing is, which I heard very, very recently, and I really loved it, is that if the decision makes you feel more respectful about yourself, I think that's the right decision. But I know लोगों को लगा होगा यार 29 पे नीरज क्विट कर रहा है, he should get married, he should do this, I am in a stable IT, I'm getting double promoted, whatever it is. Still I chose a hard path because I felt more respectful कि नीरज ये डिजर्व करता है. मेरा पोटेंशियल अभी शायद लोगों को नहीं दिख रहा है, बट मुझे पता है मेरे में कितना पोटेंशियल है, राइट? एंड connecting all of this simpler metrics to take that decision, being respectful, not regretting yourself, ultimate why that I had behind it is because I believe in second chances. I am living a second life, believing in second chances. If I did not believe in myself in that hospital bed, मैं यहाँ पे नहीं होता. It literally started with me, to be very honest, Aditi, I had 5 fractures in my neck. My left side of the skull was shattered. ठीक है? I healed on my own without any surgeries. And that point of time being 6 months paralyzed, and I am talking about I can't even move left or right while I'm lying down.
Oh my God.
And I can't feel the left side of mine. It comes and goes. It comes and goes.
How old were you?
25. And I had to learn to live like a baby again. And it hits you hard that everything is very temporary in life. जितना भी ego आपने जमा किया ना, जो भी चीज़ों का, वो सब ऐसे उड़ा सकता है ऊपर वाला, ऐसे. So
Neeraj, I remember you told me, I think last year at some point, that you also became like a bodybuilder. You just went on the other side of it.
Powerlifter,
Powerlifter, yeah. So from like being paralyzed to being a powerlifter, yeah.
So in 2 years of span, I was lifting 5 times of my body weight from being on the bed. When the day I enrolled gym, I had the dream physique that people wanted. So I worked on myself for 1.5 years. Before the gym, I was not allowed to go there. I was allowed to walk even after 1 year. So I had to learn like to sit like a baby, to do everything. And the emotion of feeling helpless कि आप खुद को खाना भी नहीं खिला सकते हो. Somebody, and I give the credits to my sister, my mom, everybody who took care of me at that point of time. It's because of them I'm here, because of my doctor Amit Mishra. He's the angel here. And I challenged him. I'm a case study for him. That he said to me, Neeraj, 1 साल तक सब भूल जाओ. And I was like, let's do it in 6 months. I will make sure that we do it in 6 months. आप मुझे बताओ करना क्या है. And I had X-rays, Aditi, done every week of my neck. I had to visit the clinic, and it used to be such a hassle to just go to that clinic because I was not allowed to shake my neck in any way.
Yeah, right. And just commuting, going there.
Yeah, so we had to ensure कि कैब वाले को समझाओ कि भैया स्पीड ब्रेकर पे बड़ा ध्यान से, और स्पीड ब्रेकर पे लिटरली इमेजिन यू फीलिंग कि आपका नेक पूरा ऐसे आपको फील हो रहा है. So coming from that, I was never negative. And I thought, okay, it's such a beautiful human potential that we have. I was never obsessed about self-growth. But at that point of time, I realized कि यार it's like a seed. Human is like a seed. आप जितना नर्चर करोगे ना उसके थॉट प्रोसेस को, उसके एग्जीक्यूशन को, द फर्दर इट ग्रोज. देयर इज नो लिमिट टू इट, right? And that is what it started. I used to, like, imagine this, I used to do 1 push-up, I used to fall when I was allowed, and sometimes I cheated, honestly. Sorry, doctor, but I'm very proud of that cheating, because I was cheating for myself.
By cheating, you did more, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because I was not allowed to do push-ups, but I was thinking I'm going to try something, I have to, defy the conventional norms of healing. I had to do something else, right? So it was, my mind was working at like speed I have never imagined. I was thinking कि क्या कर सकते हैं, and it was such a beautiful pause of my life. Just refilling. And I was not thinking कि मैं चला गया होता तो क्या, मैं बच जाऊंगा तो क्या करना है, आप बताओ. So I was looking but
tell us, what did you do exactly? How did you, for example, इतनी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन
Yeah.
लोगों के लाइफ में आती नहीं है
Correct.
जनरली, और अगर आती है तो इन माई एक्सपीरियंस दे जस्ट कांट रिकवर मेंटली
Correct.
फ्रॉम दैट मोर देन फिजिकली. सो व्हाइल इट वाज हैपनिंग,
Mm-hmm.
व्हाट एग्जैक्टली डिड यू थिंक?
It taught me the most important lesson of life, that I can only exist in this one moment, not beyond it. So I don't think about past and future. So when I was surviving that point of time, I'll tell you a context here. So the first time I moved my neck, I had tear down my eyes, but I could not speak. That kind of pain it was. Right? The first time I thought of moving. And I had to do it consciously for next 3 months for me to heal. Every day. Conscious pain. So the funny way Mahadev was training me was giving me conscious pain, giving me conscious mindset. If I would imagine कि 3 महीने तक ये करना है, it would be very difficult, right? So I started living in that one day. One day I know 10% better हो रहा है. अगले दिन I know again 10% better होगा. So it taught me to focus on just this. This is all I have. All I have. So why worry about what is not in existence yet? Right? So I was focusing on that one moment, one aspect of my life. And beautifully what happens is that it starts building your mindset and courage when you start executing consciously. And practically, if I tell you, what I did was just believe in myself and then keep on executing जितना छोटा टास्क हो सके, जितना माइक्रो प्रोग्रेस हो सके. इट डजेंट मैटर इफ इट इज 0.0001. इफ आई एम सेटिस्फाइड कि आज मैंने कल से बेटर प्रोग्रेस किया है, परसों मैंने कल से बेटर प्रोग्रेस किया, आई एम हैप्पी विद इट.
And that is on and on for 1.5 years.
That is on and on for 1.5 years.
Oh, that's so difficult.
Now imagine the mindset that I developed कि मुझे 200 किलो उठाना है, so I can lift 5 times of my body weight right now, even right now. Like I'm 75 and I can lift around 200 kgs, 230 kgs in deadlift without any external help from anybody. And that is a kind of 7 years of dedication. It happened in 2018, it's 2025. 7 to 8 years of dedication of just working on myself. And वो था ना, आपकी जो सक्सेस स्टोरी होती है वो अंधेरों में बनती है.
बिल्कुल.
और उस अंधेरों में मैं बहुत बार गिरा हूँ. तो वो जो खतरों को झेलने का आया है कि उन्होंने इतने खतरे दे दिए कि अब खतरों से ही डर नहीं लगता. So it has been that kind of a journey, and I tell this to people, and that is the big why of my life. कि अगर यार इतने बड़े खतरे से बाहर आ गया, और मैं 2023 I quit my job on my birthday very consciously. I gifted myself 1 year Parkinson's law की 1 साल की डेडलाइन दूंगा. ठीक है. और
I do that so many times. This is unbelievable. Like I think that's my favorite thing. But you please complete. I want to mention.
So I gave myself a deadline of Parkinson's law, because anything that does not have a deadline, it's like infinity to me. So I don't do that. So I gave myself chance, and I literally made an Excel of Ikigai ki jo bhi cheezein aati hain, let's explore all of them. And I started executing, and that's when the Dream with Neeraj built. And then I started sharing my story.
Nice.
You know, and almost I hit clinical depression in this whole phase, because I was used to a lot of titles. Like we are used to a lot of titles. Manager, आपकी मम्मी कैसे एक्सप्रेस करेगी, अरे मेरा बेटा क्या करता है आजकल, अरे मेरे को ही नहीं पता मैं क्या करता हूँ आजकल. You know, it becomes so difficult to have this identity crisis. Like when you were 19, when I was 29, we are like suddenly पता ही नहीं कि identity क्या है. आज बोल सकते हैं कि चलो आई एम अ बिहेवियरल एक्सपर्ट, आई हैव डन, यू नो, आई टीच CXOs, CFOs, बिग शॉर्ट पीपल्स, राइट. आई हैव सीन जॉन अब्राहम ऑन योर वेबसाइट. सो उस टाइम पे तो नहीं पता ना, उस टाइम पे तो आइडेंटिटी बन रही है. सो यू नीड टू अलाउ योर सेल्फ अ टाइम. आई मेड दिस रील कि हर फूल को खिलने में समय जाता है. अगर समझ नहीं सकते तो समय दो. एंड इट हिट 2 million because of these kids, because they wanted it to share to their parents. Right? And that's such a beautiful context. But I would love for you to add value here to Parkinson's law that you were mentioning.
So I never read about Parkinson's law like that, but I know that I give myself 1 year before I quit on anything. Like for example, like art, as I was telling, I took 1 year to just give 15 minutes every single day. 2 years ago, I was performing poetry and storytelling at some place, and I realized it was amazing. And it was the first time I had written a piece. And when I performed, I saw the impact it had on people. And many people cried in the audience, and I didn't realize why it was happening. And I kept performing that. I was invited to perform at really amazing places. But when that happened, people walked up to me and said, Aditi, why don't you consider acting? Why don't you consider acting? And I'm like, we'll see, because I've heard that a lot all my life. So at one point, I said, okay, let me just give it 1 year.
Got it.
And then I started training with somebody in Bombay, and I started doing some scene work with them. And I did it for 1 year. When I realized I really like it, Then I moved further. Now I'm currently training in Berlin with one of my teachers. And this is like every 3 months I keep visiting the place because he has a program which is a 2-year module. I don't know what I'm going to do with acting. Will I act professionally? I already did in some short films and commercials and all of it. But the idea is more than that. The idea is to stay in the learning journey and to challenge yourself in a manner that you know that you're exploring new parts of you. But 1 year is my, so I take 3 months. I call it 100-day project. Every year I take 1 or 2 100-day projects where I would
Perfect.
like challenge myself in ways that I absolutely have no clue. One could be like personal, professional, and other is always creative because I think artistically I want to explore a lot. So I do that. And once I find something interesting, then 1 year.
I love that because this is how I started learning guitar. I gave
सी
myself
यही वाला फंडा होता है
हाँ
ज्यादा
हाँ
कॉम्प्लेक्स भी
ज़्यादा
करना चाहिए
कॉम्प्लेक्स
मेरे
नहीं
को
है
हाँ
हाँ यही that's how I started learning guitar. Now I'm learning piano because it's been 6 years since I'm playing guitar. तो अब piano वाला phase आ चुका
फिर
है.
आ गया अच्छा
That's how even the vocal training started. I told you कि वो intermediate, and then that's how I did like a 90 days course with them in terms of learning basics of classicals, learning Bollywood hip hop and stuff like that. So I think it's such a beautiful thing कि हम अपने आप को एक data set देते हैं to explore stuff, and which gives us even more confidence, and it is done without any pressure of me becoming the best actor in the world.
yes or anything best I feel thank you for saying this
Yes.
but anything best or anything like really complex feels as if I have to reach there and anything that you do from a space of that I have to do it will take away all the joy from the
Yeah,
situation.
agree.
So I have this favorite example. I don't miss a chance to tell about this.
Please.
It's like imagine you and I are having a cup of coffee and we
yeah.
suddenly see a man running.
Yeah.
And there are 3 possibilities why he's running, and we have no clue. We don't know him. So you say probably there is a dog behind him, and that's why he's running. And we look carefully. There is no dog. Then I say probably there is a kite in the sky. That's why he's running. There's no kite. And while we are having this conversation, the server comes to us.
It's okay.
While we are having this conversation, the server comes to us and he says, "No, none of it. Actually, this is happening because he's preparing for a marathon." So if you look at it, the distance between point A to B that he's running is the same. But if he has dogs behind, then he's surviving.
Yeah.
If he has kite in the sky, if he gets the kite, he has no motivation to run again. It's only when he's running because he loves to run, because he's preparing for something which he would love to do in the future, is where he would enjoy a run by itself. So either you have to have love for the activity on its own or something that you're working towards in a long run, because out of joy is the way you will survive the grind, because it is difficult to show up every day. So it's not the action, it's the motive behind the action that gives you the emotional experience that you're looking for.
Correct. And for me, learning anything artistic is like rejuvenating my soul.
Could be. And for you, it is that.
Yeah.
For somebody, it could be learning something technical.
Exactly.
For other people, it could be like, learning how to code something. So whatever that is for you. Art, two artists talking, it would be like, of course, art is a great. But if it is not, that's okay. Whatever is your thing.
Yeah.
You have to know why does it matter. And the motive behind will create an emotional experience.
See, I hope I'm able to create an emotional experience here, because the motive behind all of this podcast was the why that I had in that हॉस्पिटल बेड कि यार अगर मैं सेकंड चांस लेके उस पूरी चीज़ से सर्वाइव कर सकता हूँ तो आई होपफुली कैन गिव अवे समथिंग थ्रू द कॉन्वर्सेशंस और माय एक्सप्रेशन और माय जर्नी, कि जिससे कि शायद लोग उससे थोड़े से लेसर फेट में, मतलब उनको अपना गला उठाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बट लेसर फेट देन दैट दे कैन सर्वाइव, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाई आई एम अलाइव. दैट्स व्हाट आई हैव बिलीव्ड so far, and I would love for you to add some value to this. Sometimes क्या होता है जब हम अनसर्टेनिटी में होते हैं ना, like you, me, anybody out there, and we can't see the future. That's where I feel somewhere being spiritual or somewhere thinking that you're not alone in this race helps. Do you agree to that?
Yes, but the journey is always yours.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like, yes. So we will have tools, we will have communities, we will have other people, we have support system, we have coaches, we have therapists, we have all of this around us. But the choice lies with you.
So let's make it more precise. Is that if somebody is anxious or something like that, what is that one micro habit that they can, inculcate in, let's say, their daily routine?
If you ask me, I have done this work with around almost 50,000 people by now, which I call the calming Estro.
I love that.
So people, when they feel the mind is not following whatever they want, if your mind is being useless, I say lead with your body. Because there are days, and when the mind, when the body is being helpless, lead with your mind. It's
Correct.
like a two-way process. So when your mind is really useless, coming up with all the thoughts, and it's not making you feel like really content or happy or in this moment, and is going anxious, lead with your body. So the S stroke, if I may borrow your
Please, please, please.
notebook, is a simple
Stage is all yours.
it's a simple technique. You always start with a ballpoint pen. This is a roller ball, I believe. So,
Yeah.
but don't use roller ball or any other pen.
Don't
No
use this
ink pen. Yeah, use like a ballpoint pen. Simple. Use a ruled book. And what you go to do, and we will make a better video of this, but you have to do the stroke formation like this. So technically, this formation you do while you're doing it, you breathe slightly deeper than your current breath. Okay, so what happens? Your mind is trying to focus on the specific, very precise formation that allows you to create a state of flow or like flow in your way of thinking. And mostly when we're anxious, we are stuck on one point. We keep overthinking about that one thing and we just can't move. And your mind can't move because all the anxiety is happening. But when you use your body and you create like this micro little movement, and when you breathe slightly deeper, something amazing happens. And I have had, during the lockdown, I created a social initiative called Anti-Anxiety Journaling.
Okay.
And we taught this technique to around 40,000 people then in 3 years. It was a social initiative. So we were like absolutely going, talking to NGOs, different organizations, media, and people supported so much. And the whole process, what happened was people came back to us saying that they changed their minds from killing themselves. People who had anxiety medicines for like 20 years and had developed like tremors in their hand, like lost a tremor in 21 days.
Wow.
People like spoke about how the relationship improved, how they're less anxious. Like I have just, and like I know, touch wood, like so much happened in their lives.
Touch wood plus.
Just like absolutely doing this for 21 days or like 30 days. I do it every day. It helps my dyslexia because sometimes when I feel like little anxious, not anxiety is a stronger word, but when I feel out of control, I feel this gives me the state of flow. I know people who have been doing it for last 4 years from the time that they learned. So I call it like the calming S-stroke.
Got it.
But yeah, like a small little choice like that can change everything.
Yeah, I'll give you one of the things that I started developing, like very interesting it might be, is I take 7 conscious breaths a day.
Okay.
So a lot of time, because it's something that God has gifted you the ability of your mind कि चलो background में चल रहा है तो हम आदत ध्यान नहीं होता ना हमारा. So since my accident, I've developed this habit that I will take 7 conscious breaths, where my exhalation should always be longer than my inhalation.
Nice. And during the day only 7 or at a time 7?
At a time 7. So like I take a pause and I do that 7 breaths.
So what you're talking about and what I did with this technique is also like it's a pattern breaking. Okay, and that is done physically. And breath is one of the most powerful actions that one can take.
Correct.
So if you involve breath and do things, and this is amazing. This technique is amazing. But when you absolutely do anything which that breaks your pattern, your mind suddenly has a possibility of choosing another pattern. So just simply taking 7 breaths, just simply practicing the S stroke can create magic.
Yeah, and I have loved this habit of, anchoring myself with my breath, because it's something I carry everywhere. It's free of cost. It's something I carry everywhere. And even in Vipassana, they mentioned it कि आप जब भी angry हो रहे हो, जब anxious हो रहे हो, see the pattern will change in your breath. You will inhale, you will palpitate.
There is an entire study of Swara Yoga in Yoga Sutra, and I learned some part of it in my yoga teacher's training course. But like Swara Yoga gives you like the breath that you can study your breath for years, and there are experts who study breath in like 5 elements of the breath, Nida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadi along with it. So just like a whole world of its own, and I feel it's fascinating. I agree with.
Yeah, so there is line I always say is that हम घर का कचरा साफ करते हैं, but हमारे मन का कचरा साफ नहीं करते. Connecting it to mental health. We clear the garbage in our dustbin in our home. We want it clean, but we don't want our mind to be very clean. We don't have this conscious habit, and I think this should be taught in school. Is that आपको the life ना Aditi, I feel is about unlearning more than learning at some point of time. अब बोलते ना हम conversation के बाद हमें हल्का feel हो रहा है, because you let it out, right? It's a fact. अब बहुत बार conversation होता है, अरे बहुत हल्का feel हो रहा है आज.
सभी से नहीं होता पर
सभी से नहीं होता.
No, but you have to talk to the right kind of people.
Exactly.
Because if you talk to people who are judgmental, the same conversation can bring like a lot of kachra in
Yeah,
your head back.
it can go to narcissistic.
No, not narcissistic. Like I feel like the word narcissistic
Is a very extreme.
Yeah, also and it's overused nowadays with like Gen Z especially. I feel let's look at it.
Yeah.
Having a conversation with somebody who has the ability to understand and hold a safe space makes you feel relieved. Having a conversation with somebody who's not ready to have that conversation or who is judgmental or who is harsh is not helpful. So you have to also figure out, like, and I know people talk about speaking their heart out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you, like, if you don't have anybody safe or comfortable or easing to talk to, do journaling instead.
Mm.
So there are like stages, do journaling. So first, obviously, best one would be that you have someone. And if you don't have a friend like that, then please look for a therapist who can do that. But have a space where you can feel that you have spoken
Mm.
or create the space. Invest in your communication, like, with people. Like we have to teach people how to talk to us.
Mm.
Like in my inner circle, we have this rule called vent. Do you want to vent or do you want a solution?
Mm.
And we do that to each other in my close circle. So we would say, we want to vent. Oh yeah, I just want to vent. So then you don't give solutions. We just back off. The other person might be the best expert to give the solution, but they don't because that's a trust that we have built over the years. And then my friend would just like talk about it and she would just like, vent it out and I would just hear it. And some days I want that space. And then there is another thing. So today I want solution. So you said this is a tool that we have built and we use it over and over again to create the communication panel. For example, sometimes in communication, you would feel that you want to talk about it, but the other person takes it very personally, okay, because it's about them. They have hurt you. So if you don't have a space to have how to discuss hurtful conversations, then you can't have that conversation with the same person. So first, the framework has to be built.
Correct.
So say, hey, and then if you don't have the framework, learn the framework. If you don't have that, have a therapist. But our need of like getting things out of our system is really, really valid. But also doing it with anybody and everybody is also very harmful. You have to be careful about the space that you choose. And I always recommend, whether you have that space or not, you go to have like a journaling space. Because you have to know that if nobody's around and if I can't find that my phone a friend immediately, I have my journaling technique as my way to go to.
Got it.
Okay, so there's a book called Artist Way, where the author speaks about doing only like, writing about whatever you want, whatever you're feeling, 5 minutes in the morning, first thing in the, she called, I think, 3 pages. Or 1 page. She has a tool like that. That could be a way of doing it. I do very solution-oriented journaling. I would say, hey, what would I require to do here? And then I write about things, my mind starts thinking about how do I solve the problem? There are other people who do journaling because they want to be grateful, right? In this moment when I'm feeling horrible, what they do gratitude journaling. So there are different ways in which but you have to have a journaling practice, which is about you talking to yourself. Without which you would feel very, very lonely.
So to summarize this in a very beautiful way is that what I was trying to tell is you just need to have a right outlet.
Right outlet, yes.
Right outlet.
Yes.
And
I see people, I paused you there because I see people just wanting to talk.
Yeah, correct.
And they'll end up talking and oversharing and then they regret it and then they never speak again.
Correct.
So it's very, very important that you choose who do you speak.
The most amount of deaths that happen globally are not by diseases. It's because of worrying. And then just snapped me out of it. कि यार नीरज इतना सोच रहा है ये exist ही नहीं करता. It's me manifesting that into reality. It's me giving that weightage. It's like the story of that black wolf and white wolf. Which one will survive the winter? The one that you feed. Simple. It's the same thing in your thought process. If I feed that, okay, I can't survive the uncertainty, I will die. But if I feed that I can endure it and I can bloom out of it, I won't be as much scared. Right? So I started this whole thing कि मैंने journaling से start किया and then I started giving myself goals. I just started giving some realistic timeline to it. I started seeing some progress. That gave me some confidence. So I think execution beats and the action beats anxiety. That's my slogan. Whenever you are in that action and momentum, that beats anxiety. Because as long as you are a slog, slog potato at a bed, everything will feel like ye nahi ho sakta. But once you hit that gym, and gym has been a very big anchor for me in helping me sustain my mental health. Like going,
I completely disagree with that.
it worked for me.
I know, that's what I'm saying, because I see people like not dealing with their mental health issues just by going to a gym. And I do have a point of view about this
Yes, I agree to
because
that.
it does give you, like what you're saying, the action beats anxiety. I feel sometimes people just take actions, and that could mean that they just distract themselves from dealing with the real problem. And thereby, going to the gym as an idea gives you an escape to not look at what is really bothering. So, yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's a
I
very,
feel it's rather harmful when people do it.
yeah, if you put it that way, because in my case, it was a little different. In my case, it was,
No, Neeraj, that's thereby when we are talking about this as on a platform like yours where so many people listen to you.
got it.
I think we must include the part that you did the inner work while going to the
Exactly.
gym,
I was,
because it's not only going to the gym, because I have met so many people who thought who replaced their journey as the mental training, emotional training by going to the gym, because it gives you an adrenaline rush. It gives you, when you are fighting the battle of like picking up that extra weight, the sense of identity that I'm becoming better and stronger. But yes, you are physically.
number one contributor in today's world affecting people's mental health.
You can't figure this out. Like, I know loneliness is one of the biggest thing that is bothering people, because people don't know how to live with themselves. But is it the only contributor? No, it changes depending on your age and your factors. But yes,
True.
technology and everything has made us so lonely. So, we are self-reliant. We don't require people. You can go about your life doing everything on your own. You have the right technology, right support, AI. अभी चैट जीपीटी भी आ गया, तो कोई भी ज़रूरत नहीं आपको कोई भी चीज़ के लिए लोगों पे डिपेंड होने की. But this is where connecting with the other person becomes a choice. And when it is an uncomfortable choice, you rather live by yourself. That's what people do. And I feel loneliness and feeling like, I'm all by myself is an underlying thought that makes people very, very sad.
Yeah, I think मैं अगर उस journey में, and even in your case, you have beautiful friends right now who understand ये जो आपने बताया went out वाला, and so I'm lucky to have a few of them right now as well, because they vibrate at the same frequency. Maybe they have gone through and understood the same struggle. It's such a beautiful message that I want to put out there, is that you might start it alone, but definitely you will have someone in that journey who will be like you, who will understand you at some point of time. And it is a positivity that I want to send out there, right?
So beautiful.
Right, that's lovely. And that's the podcast for today. And just one request to all of you guys: me, Aditi, have dedicated 1 hour of our life, and if it gives you a little bit of value, a little bit of support, a little bit of insight on how to navigate your life better, on how to be in this uncertain path of the world, then definitely share this podcast. It might just make somebody's life better.
Thank you. Thank you for
so much.
having me on the show. This was wonderful.
Thank you so much.